LCARA Ham Radio presents a Time Machine Tuesday vintage video release.
Welcome to Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association. You can find us at LCARA.net, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. If you're enjoying the videos we're producing here at LCARA, please help our club out by hitting that subscribe button. Also, give us some feedback on our videos. Click the like button, share with anybody who may find it interesting, and be sure to hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified of the next video release. Yeah, good morning, folks. This is Chris, KY4CKP, and we want to bring to you just another installment in our playlist for the modifications and additions we're making to our emergency communications trailer for our club. And so some of the recent work we did, and we had posted a little bit of a teaser pic a few days ago, is we installed this all-in-one PC that was donated by one of our club members, and we greatly appreciate that. And so we wanted to have computing, some sort of computing capability in the trailer. Also wanted to try not to give up any of our precious desktop space. So this was a perfect solution for us. And so we, KY4BDP, Brian and I went out to the LCARA worldwide headquarters and fabricated some brackets and some different things, and got not only this panel PC going, but also an additional monitor that's being driven by this PC, as we'll see in this clip coming up. And so we can do some computer-oriented activities. We're going to have programming cables for a lot of various types of radios, so we can do programming on the fly or on the spot. We're going to be able to run software-defined radio, and who knows what else. It's just going to open up some great capabilities for us. And so, again, we fabricated some brackets. There's the little monitor that that Brian donated, and we put that over on the floor-to-ceiling rack over on the right-hand side. And again, as we'll see, we fabricated some brackets, one to help hold this smaller monitor in place, and then the brackets you kind of saw there for that all-in-one PC system. And of course, with the help of Don, AC4DM, our club president. And had a real good time and made a lot of progress that day, and have even done some work since this, and of course we'll be documenting that pretty soon as well. I know we've got a number of folks kind of following along with what we're doing with our trailer, just to get some ideas on the kinds of things that you might look to do, and ways that you might do them. And of course, it's a lot of fun to work on the trailer, and then of course actually get it out in the field and in the public and use it. And we do have an event coming up in September that we want to try to have as many things ready as possible for that event here locally. And we did get it out, of course, for Field Day 2020 as well, and then of course we had that video up. So again, our goal was to get some computing capability in the trailer, and so we've accomplished that. And again, it's going to open up the ability to program radios on the fly. We're going to have some software on this. Again, a collection of programming cables. SDR, we'll probably run a SDR, either an SDR Duo, RSP1 Duo, or the RSP1 Alpha, or some sort of an SDR, so that we can be able to visualize the kinds of traffic that are happening on various bands any given day. It's always good to have that and see that, but it can also be a pretty dramatic demonstration for the public and for people that may be newer, because that's kind of for a lot of us, I think, an exciting way to enjoy ham radio is to use some of the modern computing and capabilities that are out there. So here you can see both the panel monitor installed in its bracket, and we'll see how we built that, and then also that little monitor up in the rack. And whether it's displaying weather information, 2-meter propagation information, just whatever you can kind of think of that we would normally do from the PC side of things. We'll have some sort of connectivity, whether some sort of just cell phone connectivity or hotspot, and then of course the regular radio type activities will be happening as well. So again, we had a lot of fun to fabricate these things. Had to brainstorm a number of solutions and just kind of look around the shop. It was amazing we were able to get all this done and didn't even have to make a single trip to a hardware store. I know if we had been at my QTH or Brian's QTH, almost any project we work on, there's at least one, if not three, trips to a hardware store. But we managed to come up with some various kinds of extra and scrap materials and put all this together there at headquarters. So here we're just putting up the tray. We had several of these trays to go with these basically 19-inch rack mount rails that Don had picked up years ago, and we've cut them to fit various situations. Still have some of it left, but we're just using regular rack 19-inch rack mount type uh, of the shelving here, and we measured for that little monitor that Brian donated there, and then cut a little piece, as we'll see in a minute, cut a little piece of kind of C channel or U channel to sort of hold it at the bottom, and then a simple bungee helps hold it at the top. So again, a secondary monitor driven from the panel PC that we can use, and just display whatever's of interest that day or for that location. So we used a number of tools, and we'll kind of see some example in a couple of video clips. Use a number of tools. If you don't have the specific tools you see here in the video, there's usually handheld or other ways you could cut the metal or drill holes or whatever it is. So there's that fairly small piece of kind of C channel or U channel that we used to as a bottom bracket to hold that monitor. It ended up being just about the exact width that we needed to hold the bezel, plastic bezel of the monitor, and so we measured and just cut it to length. And we used a nice bandsaw for that. I used the bandsaw to cut the 19-inch rack components, as we'll see, that we use for the panel PC. You could use a hacksaw, a regular hand hacksaw, or a Dremel tool, or an angle grinder. I mean, there's a lot of ways you could cut the metal. We just happen to have this bandsaw, basically handy. So that's the good news, is nothing we did couldn't be done with regular hand tools and other things. So yeah, we just set up the bandsaw. We had measured, the lengths that we needed, and of course all this was aluminum, so made really quick and easy and short work of cutting the various pieces that we did for the projects that day. Here we're using just a drill press to put in some holes and things. Again, you could use a regular hand drill. It's a little easier and potentially more accurate to use some of these other bench type tools or even floor standing tools. But again, I don't think there was anything we did that day that we couldn't have done with hand tools and stuff. If you've got some of these other tools available, that's great. But we know, of course, not everybody does. We're pretty fortunate to have a pretty good shop out there at the headquarters. And so we take advantage of that when we can. So yeah, drilled our various holes that we had pre-measured, and put them in the shelving as well, because that U channel, that C channel, it's going to get screwed into this shelf again to be a nice stable bracket to hold the bottom edge of that small monitor that we saw earlier, and then it fits pretty snugly up at the top, and just kind of a bungee cord holds it in place. And easy to take down for transport whenever we're moving the trailer or whatever it is, and then very quick and easy to put it back up again once you're on site and you're ready to start displaying whatever information. So again, whether it's weather or whatever. So here you can see we're just screwing the channel into the tray using some stainless hardware I think that we had again on site. Again, we got kind of lucky. Didn't have to run out to a hardware store, but that is not always the case. Sometimes we do, of course, just like any of us usually do. But we got that little C channel put up in there, and that row of LEDs you see right at the top there, that's part of a little bit of a future project that's going to be motion activated. So when you first walk in the trailer, on site or whatever, that'll be directly connected to 12-volt battery source and have a little motion sensor. So when you first walk in, you'll have light in the trailer, just some initial light, so that you can turn things on and start getting the house lights and those kinds of things turned on. So we'll cover that in a future video, I'm sure. So again, we were testing the fit of that monitor, and it turned out great. When it's in there and you have just that bungee on there, it's nice and stable. It's not going to go anywhere. You could travel with it that way, I'm sure. We may take it down for travel, but I think it actually would work just fine like that. And so here we can see it again with the panel PC over on the left. And again, we're going to be able to program radios, check weather, check propagation, check the DX clustering see who's been spotted, who's activated, all kinds of things. Run SDR, we're running SDR USB dongle of some kind, so we can watch the bands and that kind of stuff. Again, probably uh, SDR play unit, maybe the Duo, so we could watch two antennas at once. Now the brackets for the all-in-one PC, we were thinking about this for quite a while and trying to, because it's kind of thick. It's not easy to see, but if you can imagine how a lot of TVs and things are, it's not super thick. It's not like the old CRT monitors, if you even know what a CRT is, but it's fairly thick. You can kind of see it here. This was our teaser pick, so we needed something deep enough to hold it. And so we were looking at all the different kinds of scrap and stuff that Don had, and had seen this. Of course, we've worked with this 19-inch rack rails. Put the little racks there on that table and the floor-to-ceiling rack, and we've used it in some other applications. And I said, well, Don, I said this is probably kind of, and I have to use my air quotes, and I know you can't see them. I said this is going to be kind of an expensive use of a material, maybe. I said, but this these rack rails are just about the perfect width and everything to use on this panel PC. And we thought about it and talked about it a little bit, and it was like, well, yeah, you know what it is? It's pretty much the perfect material. And so we went ahead, since he had some, and again, just made some measurements and cut it to length on the bandsaw, just like we did the smaller piece earlier. Again, it's aluminum, so it was quick and easy to cut it. And as you can see, it turned out almost perfect, almost a perfect depth and everything to be able to hold that. And so the concept, we already have this little rack. You can kind of see it there on the left. We built these, you can kind of see them there, some extensions that we can bolt onto that rack. So here we're just, we've cut and we're drilling the 19-inch rails. But the concept was we built the extensions for that rack that's on the desk to come up and hold these new rails. And we've measured everything. And then the panel PC can just slide right in there. When you get on site, we just slide it from the side right in there, connect your cables and your power, and you're good to go. Once it's in there, and if you're not, in motion or anything, I mean, it's not going to fall down. Everything's very sturdy, and of course, it's not super heavy. And with a bungee or two, it could sit right in there, even for transport, if we wanted to go that way. Now, this machine, this little device, is we're using it to get a good straight tap into the. We've drilled the holes into these rails, and we were putting some nice threaded tap in there so that we could screw things in. Very interesting tool. Now, of course, you can do this kind of stuff by hand, but he just happened to have this tool for tapping things. So again, just to make sure it's a nice perpendicular, which is always a good thing when you're trying to tap new threads into things. So so the rack rail turned out perfect. Again, I feel like it's sort of an expensive tool to use for that, but we had some and still have some of it laying around, and it did work out kind of perfect for what we're doing with it. Now we're here. You can kind of see how we're putting on those uprights, and you can see the bottom. It becomes the bottom part of the kind of the rack there for that monitor, and the top racks up above. So we just temporarily and partially undid that existing rack with those panels, just so we could get to the back and put things in there. And it turned out great. Again, you can just easily slide the panel PC right in and out. Now we're trying to decide how much work we want to do for ourselves. You know how it is sometimes when you're working on a project. We got all this going, and then I don't know who it was. It might have been me. I'm usually the troublemaker. I said, man, that all that rack stuff and all that would look pretty good if it was painted black. So who knows? Maybe in a future project you'll see us. Maybe that we'll have that painted black. But there's kind of the completed assembly. We have the top and the bottom and the uprights, and which is just some aluminum angle. And once we tapped and put that into the existing rack, you can see kind of right behind it. It worked out really well for that. And it was just a lot of fun to put these things together and to get this kind of capability built into the comms trailer, because I think we'll be able to use it for any number of things that we mentioned. Programming radios and tracking weather and propagation and running an SDR and just all those kinds of things will be possible now that we have this in here. So these were some of the fairly recent work we did on the trailer. add some nice additional capabilities. Some additional work has already been done. We'll be documenting that fairly soon as well. And as things get better here, hopefully later in the summer, we're looking to get things taken out. And we want to use this trailer as much as possible, and just get it out in the community. Some days we may just take it out to a park, and set up and do some things, and take it to the mall, set up in the parking lot, and just to kind of get ham radio out there in the public eye. And that way, if any folks are interested, they can stop by and we can talk to them, show them some things and how it works, and who knows, maybe even get some new hams in the hobby. So again, we had a lot of fun that day. It took a few hours because again there was a lot of brainstorming in that process, but everything seemed to turn out really well, and added some great new capabilities to the trailer. So again, we'll keep you folks updated with the changes we make to the trailer as we go along. We've still got quite a bit more we want to do, and of course as we get it out and use it, we'll be documenting a lot of those activities as well. So that pretty much is it. We'll wrap this one up. This is Chris, KY4CKP, for Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association 73.